I think you're amazing.
You are too, Henry.
Thank you so much. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank you.
God bless you too. Thank you for having us.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity to watch today. We have an amazing program for you today. I want to talk about something, pastor versus predator. And I know what you're saying. Both of those words shouldn't even be put together, right? I was thinking the same thing, just what you were thinking. And it's sad that I even have to have this discussion, but it's a discussion that must be had, because there are a lot of pastors out there that are not pastors, they're actually predators, and they're using their influence, power, to control you and to manipulate you. And that's very sad, and I think that needs to be addressed, and that's what I want to talk about this week. Is your pastor a pastor, or is he a predator? I want to also do a disclaimer that a lot of times when you talk about subjects like this, people automatically assume, and I always often wonder why they get offended. My pastor ain't that way. I've never been through that. So because it hasn't been your experience, we're quick to write off anybody who may have had those experiences. You're right. I'm here to validate what you're saying. You're right, and I agree with you that your pastor may not be a predator. That you may not have experienced any type of abuse with the church or whatever the case may be. But there may be somebody else out there that may have experience. I think we need to be sensitive to what other people are going through and don't just write them off and dismiss them because it's not something that you haven't experienced. So I'm not painting everyone with a broad brush saying, oh, all pastors are predators, all pastors are manipulators. I am not doing that. Some of my closest friends are pastors. I was careful how I said that because it's becoming few every day. and that's sad too, because sometimes you evolve beyond people's expectations. And if that means losing friendships over theological differences, which I think is stupid, by the way, lose them. You need real people in your life. You know, this is 2024. This year is already flying by. Let go of the people that's not destined to be in your life and connect with the right people. So that's a disclaimer I wanted to give. I don't believe everybody is this way. I don't believe every church is this way. However, I think it's important that we talk about this. So we would like to believe that pastors are crafted to provide spiritual leadership, guidance, and caring for the needs of the church. That's just a brief description of a pastor, because oftentimes we think of a pastor, we think of someone that stands up, preaches every Sunday, shakes everybody's hand after church, give hugs. But I feel like a pastor's job is much more bigger than that. I really do. So while the task of a pastor may be bigger than just preaching or preparing a sermon, it does come to a whole different level when that pastor becomes a predator. Let me talk about what a predator is. A predator is a person who looks for other people in order to use, control, and harm them in some way. That's what a predator is. They use their influence, they use their power, they use their position to manipulate their prey. And they do that level by level, but they start out very small. It could be something like, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying this is always the case. Let's go have coffee. Why don't you come over to my house? Just little things that's out of the ordinary and almost like inappropriate, especially if you're married or whatnot. Just little things like that you probably need to pay attention to. Predatory behavior, grooming. We're going to talk about that too here in a minute. And sometimes we can become so blindsided by these pastors and people because we love them. They have a big audience. People say great things about them and whatnot, and we don't realize that behind closed doors, they're just evil people that shouldn't even be having to deal with people. More or less, being a pastor and over a church, that you use your power and influence to try to hurt people who didn't do anything to you. And these are people that trusted you. These are people that believe in you. And I know what a lot of you are saying. You're like, well, Brother Henry, you saying pastors do this? Yes, pastors do this. It's very common, and I'm here to say that not only is it common, but it's very wrong. One way some pastors becomes predators by grooming their victim. Grooming is when someone builds a relationship of trust and an emotional connection, oftentimes to exploit and abuse them. This is why you see so many pastors caught in scandal or involved in illegal activities or caught in something that goes eventually public that they try to hide. This needs to be exposed. Not only does it need to be exposed, but it also needs to be expelled. People need to know. And that's what grooming is. Like I said, they'll groom you sometimes with money, sometimes with their time, sometimes with gifts. They'll make you feel very loved, validated, accepted, but it's all to get you to what you want them to be. I was just envisioning as I was saying that, like some clay. Like you take some clay and you mold it. You can make that thing into whatever you want it to be. That's what the predator does with their prey. You're that mold and they're molding you. You are that clay and they're molding you into everything that they want you to be, only for their own selfish ambition and gratification. A lot of times people don't understand that grooming is not always obvious. It's baby steps. We think when predators come like, boom, there go a predator. No, it's baby steps. Until they get what they want out of you, and until they get you not only to what they want out of you, but where they want you to be. This behavior, my friends, is not acceptable and it's unjustifiable. And there are some narcissistic men out there today who lead churches and ministries to use the people for their own gratification. It happens way too far often. To these predators, they are only in it for power. They're in it for attention, financial gain, and sometimes these predators are after sexual gratification. How many times we've seen pastors who were caught in scandal? I'm not going to call any names, but you've seen it on TV, different ones stand up preaching so strong and loud against sin and don't be doing this and don't do that. And they're the main ones that get caught into something very, very wrong. All abuse of authority are both immoral, and not only is it immoral, it's against the law. Whether you're a pastor or not, you shouldn't be grooming anyone. You shouldn't be using your influence or your power and your position to hurt anyone. Predators aggressively pursue their own interests in the church, influencing others through various forms such as misinformation. Sometimes people come to them, hey, I heard something about you, and they'll try to twist the whole story. No, that ain't what happened. Let me tell you what really happened. And like I said, that's spreading misinformation. That's what they do. You know why they do that? Because they want to make the victim look bad. Because they don't want to look bad. I'm the pastor. I do nothing wrong. So they spread misinformation about the victim, because if I can bring down the victim or create a distorted victim and create a distorted image of the victim, the people will believe me over the victim. And that's wrong too. Misinformation, manipulation, and intimidation. Sometimes they intimidate the person that they're with. My desire is that we take a stand against these pulpit predators and realize and recognize their behavior is not good. Don't be afraid to expose them, because by doing so, you are saving lives. Dealing with leaders who are predators can be extremely draining. This is not the time to sleep, but the time to wake up. All pastors are not pimps. All pastors are not predators. All pastors are not liars. So once again, please don't take what I'm saying and, oh, he's saying everybody's this way. If that's what you got out of today's message, you're truly missing the whole point. Is he a pastor or is he a predator? Follow us on the Brother Henry and You Show page on Facebook.com. Also connect with us on YouTube /Henry Harris 100. God bless you. I love you. We'll see you next week.